What's up, guys? It's the real main event, the Rogue Soldier, the essential John L. Crossfire.
And I'm Mrs. Crossfire.
And once again, you guys are tuned into Caught
In Conversation, shakalaka-laka.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 121 of Caught In Conversation. As always, I am your host, the essential John L. Crossfire, but unfortunately, I'm riding solo again this week for both the conversation you're about to hear and this intro and outro because Miss Nova Lee is not feeling the best, but unfortunately it is what it is. Life happens sometimes, so we wish you well, Nova Lee. I'll give you all the snuggles once I finish recording. That's cringe, but that's okay. I'm going to leave this in. Anywho, this week I am talking to the current SUPLEX streaming champion. CJ Young is a multiple time holder of that championship, as we get into in this conversation. And in this conversation you'll hear us talking about multiple different training schools and basically, you know, give some advice about not taking stuff personally, hence the title of the episode, Don't Take It Personal. And just basically, you know, talks about maturing as a person and his love for wrestling and just, true podcast fashion, as all the descriptions on all the platforms, ranting, reviewing and marking out. We very much do all of that, and as myself and Nova have kind of coined in the last handful of episodes, the new tagline or the new motto for the podcast, for the marks, by the marks, that's probably going to be a t-shirt at some point in the near future. It's probably going to be like a basic old school style, like a design as well, with, you know, just some fancy little writing and maybe a couple of little things here and there, but nothing overcomplicated, which is funny because we talk about that towards the end of this conversation with CJ when he plugs his new merch. Spoiler alert, listen to the conversation so you can hear about that. But yeah, we've got some merch coming soon, more merch coming soon, and as always, once I do the outro, I'll plug all of the links and yada, yada, yada. But the song of the week this week is Liar by Jelly Roll. Obviously, this song was just one of the theme songs for SummerSlam 2024, and I waited months for this song to drop because I'm a massive fan of Jelly Roll. I love his rap, I love his rock, and I damn sure love his country. But obviously, CJ is a bit of a rock guy himself, and I feel like he can appreciate this banger of a track. I'm hoping I'm not wrong with that, because I'd give it the chef's kiss. It's an absolute banger of a track. I've been listening to it every day on my walks, sometimes multiple times on my walks, just because I'm not sick of it. It's probably going to be my top song of 2024 at this point, which is shocking, because I didn't think anything was going to beat Zombieland by Jackson Hardy, but you guys that follow me on social media would have seen how often I was plugging that. But regardless, song of the week this week, Liar by Jelly Roll. The match of the week this week is Chris Jericho versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat at Backlash 2009. Once we get on the conversation of favorite matches and stuff, as you guys know, when we have people on for the first time, WrestleMania 25 comes up. I'm not going to mention what match specifically, but the topic of WrestleMania 25 comes up, so we then start talking about other stuff from that show, and we start talking about Chris Jericho and the Legends, which led to me talking about just what an underrated hidden gem Jericho versus Steamboat at Backlash is. And according to people that, you know, were there live, that's not even the best match they had. They had better matches on tour in Japan, which we do touch on with CJ as well, but very, very much a hidden gem, I'd say, and very underrated, in my opinion, is this match here. Two absolute GOATs. I know that term gets thrown out quite a lot, but just two absolute masters of this craft. Chris Jericho versus Ricky Steamboat, Backlash 2009. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the one, the only, the SUPLEX streaming champion, CJ Young. Oh yeah! Ladies and gentlemen, I am here with the current reigning SUPLEX streaming champion, CJ Young. Now, CJ, usually, you know, I have a little bit of kind of more of a direction, but obviously this kind of just came about where we had a free night, and as I said to you off air, it was meant to be Nova Lee. That's kind of fallen through, but I just went, look, I've got a time slot at this this time. Who wants in? And basically you got in the DMs and you stated your case and you're here. So realistically, I only have the core 5 questions that I ask guests for the first time, plus some little plugs and stuff thrown in between. But I feel like, I'm sure, like they're generic questions, and I'll be the first to admit that, but I feel like we'll really get to the cusp of who CJ Young is and what really makes him tick.
Yes.
I know you and I, we've had a little differences here and there in Canberra, but we don't need to talk about that just now. But I did really enjoy the match you actually had. Speaking of Canberra, at the last Extreme Capital Wrestling show with Jackson Thornhill. Obviously, my boy did come out on top, but it was a great match, and I'm hoping that the powers that be will bring you back because Canberra needs to see more of CJ Young. Personally, that's just my opinion. I don't book shit, but if someone's listening that has the power to do that, book CJ Young. That's all I'm saying.
But honestly, man, like it's kind of on me if I want to do it because I'm not just wrestling in Suplex now. I'm back doing stuff in Penrith with Wrestle Strong Dojo again.
Very busy man.
Yeah, and so I don't really have many free weekends, and it's not having anything against Canberra or anything like that. It's just like what's closest, what's easier to get to.
But that is a bastard of a drive, though, from where you are. It's it's windy and boring and
yeah.
I mean, if you can get a booking that's like an hour or two down the road, it's much better. That fully understand that. Understand that. But if you happen to have a free weekend and there's an event on in Canberra, people hit him up because.
Oh, yeah. Don't get me wrong. If there's not much going on, and it's like, oh, there's a Canberra show popping up. Yeah, I'll pop down and have a cheeky little wrestle.
But I think I always ask the same question for first-time guest CJs, and I feel, as I said, it's kind of a generic question, but I feel like it's a great little icebreaker, and that's just simply, what is CJ Young's earliest wrestling memory?
I was 6. I just moved to Queensland with my family from a little town in New South Wales. It was Barn Edmund. Nothing. It was just flat desert. And I went straight from Barn Edmund all the way to this little beach town called Moore Park near Bundaberg. And this was still when Blockbuster and Video Easy were around. This all makes sense.
Hell yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and my older brother, he was in the wrestling. I don't think he is anymore. That's his loss. He borrowed a bunch of pay-per-views from 2007, and that was the year. I remember specifically Judgment Day 2007, and I think the opening match for that was Carlito versus Ric Flair for the Intercontinental title, I believe. It's kind of crazy. I think I can remember the first wrestling match I ever watched, but that's the autism for you. Well, hey.
I feel that.
Yeah, and I was just hooked straight away, and a bunch of the kids in the school went through. They had a bunch of the figures. Yeah, it kind of I remember it reminded me of more real Power Rangers, if that makes any sense.
Dude, I have had so many people, and I'm glad that I'm with someone that is a close-ish age to me, because I've had so many people around my age use that analogy, and there's been both older wrestlers and then a few that are slightly younger just go, really? How is that Power Rangers? You just had to be there.
You had to be there. You had to be there.
But no, I can see that.
Yeah, especially for guys like Rey Mysterio, it's wear a bit more spandex and it's the same shit.
I mean, honestly, you replace the 619 logos with one of the Zords. It's there. It's literally right there.
Yeah, and you'll find a lot of people, at least our age, are probably a bit older. If they're into wrestling, they're probably also into Power Rangers because we all grew up with that same sort of stuff.
Yeah, I was on the Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers, just I mean, I think it's a very not to be sexist, but it's a very boy thing to be into ninjas and shit like that in general. But with our generation, we were at the cusp of having actual. I had a friend tell me that, oh, when I grow up, I'm going to be a Power Ranger when we were probably 6 or 7 years old, right? And then he's trying to getting in trouble because he's fucking climb the roof and he's I'm going to do a flip off the roof, and his mum comes out and he's no, get off the fucking roof. He's but I'm a Power Ranger. It's no, you're not. But it's wrestling's the same thing. Jumping off the roof, jumping off top rope, same but different.
Yeah, except some of us just don't grow up and we keep jumping off shit.
But at what point, CJ, from seeing wrestling, did you go, oh, I want to do that? And then what was the deciding factor that made you go, no, I am going to do that?
I can't remember a time after I first got into it where I didn't want to do it. And like in my early teens, I was always looking at wrestling schools, but you had to be a certain age and whatnot. And in 2019, I'd recently turned 18, and I harassed my mum. I'm just like, Mum, I'm on Centrelink now. I'll give you like as much money as I possibly can if you could take me to training just once a week in Menai in Sydney at VCW with Vulcan.
Oh,
and she did. Yeah. Every single Saturday for about a year, my mum would take me to Sydney, fucking her only like days off work and shit, just so I could fulfill my dreams. So all my wrestling, any sort of accomplishment, happy memory, weight loss, it's all responsible because of my mum.
How long of a drive was that from where you were living at the time?
3 hours there, another 3 back.
Oh, dude, so your mum's just 6-hour round trips every Saturday for you. That's
Yep.
awesome though. Like shout out to Mama Young. Like that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, like I'm forever in debt with her, man. Like as I said, I owe everything to her. It's great. I'm very lucky.
Yeah. See, it's really awesome because a lot of parents and like, you know, my dad before he passed quite often would tell me like he doesn't agree with what I'm doing. He doesn't like me doing it. But then there was always the backhanded thing of, but it's what you want to do, so I'll support it. And it's just like, oh, thanks, I guess. Whereas Mama Crossfire, you know, not so much now because I'm only doing commentary, but when I was, you know, a half-assed attempt at a professional wrestler, she was there like every chance she could get. And like my first interstate trip to Queensland, she flew all the way to Queensland and then drove another fucking 6 or 7 hours or whatever it was for where we were staying all the way up to bumfuck nowhere in Queensland to watch me wrestle for 10 minutes, right? So, like, yeah, shout out to the mums or just the parents in general. But that's cool. Your mum every week with our fail just said for about a year. That's dedication right there. Like, that's cool, man.
Like, yeah, and she didn't have to do that shit, man. It still means a lot to me, and I never forget it. I'm very fortunate to have such a good relationship with my mum still. A good mum can more than make up for a bad dad. Let's just say that.
Yeah, look, it's well documented that, you know, my dad and I had a very strained relationship, and, you know, I'm glad I made up with him before he passed. But, yeah, like, you look back at the shit your mum does as a kid, and you're just like, man, like, she didn't deserve the shit that I put her through. Like, because I was a bastard of a kid, and she still sticks by me now as, you know, I'm almost 30. So it's good to see. But you speak of training, CJ, obviously, you know, you've been around. You've been for a couple of people. You've done Wrestle Strong. You've done Suplex, and now you're back at Wrestle Strong again. What if any, I don't know, you know, because I've trained with a handful of people, and it's always been slightly different every time, which is awesome. Because I always encourage people to get out and train in as many different spots as they can, really, just because, you know, broaden your horizon sort of thing. But what, if anything, have been the main differences between the couple of different schools you've trained at?
It's really funny because like when I started at VCW, it's a 2-story gym, but I felt like I'm not trying to say this to be negative, but I feel like they kind of limited me a bit in what they wanted to show me, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. No, I've been there 100%.
And like, if I didn't like really get something, like, it just got to the point where they'd be like, "Oh, that'll do," like close enough, and like, like it's not like that's not ideal, but like not to say like that it's a bad place. Nothing, it's nothing like that. It's just like I go from like that to like when I went to Wrestle Strong, like it's a garage. Like, and I'm also not saying that as a bad thing, and like I just from my experience, the training was just so much better. Like. They're really perfectionists over there, and that's a good thing for wrestling because you want to nail this shit. You don't like if you're slightly off on anything, you could really hurt someone or yourself. So I just think it's really cool how like you learn. It's kind of like those old school dojo sort of things, like how like you learn the best shit in the kind of the weirdest areas. Like you wouldn't expect like probably one of the best wrestling schools in Australia to be in a fucking garage, you know. is what I'm getting at.
But I think with Wrestle Strong, what I really like about them and what I like about just the style of people like Dean Draven and that in general is that it's simple. And people look at simple with, the current, day indie wrestling with all the fucking flippy doos and everything. People look at simple as a bad thing. But at the end of the day, you can't do anything without your basics. And I think they've got 4 walls, they've got a wrestling ring, and they have trainers that are definitely more than capable of teaching you what to do. And I think, honestly, that's my ideal training ground, to be honest. Like, yeah, it's all good to be on an actual show and, have some glitz and glamour with the lights and the smoke, but for a training facility, like, you look at the Performance Center, right? It's state of the art. It's awesome. Like, good on WWE. They've got billions of dollars. And, like, it'd be awesome for us in Australia to have an area that had, multiple rings and this and that. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to basics and fundamentals, and I don't really need to tell you this, but you've got, the people that you train with at Wrestle Strong. And as I said, you got the 4 walls, you got a wrestling ring. You don't really need much more, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not trying to say it's like some sketchy rusty old shit. It's not that. It's like it's nice.
Oh, you go through the social media of the Wrestle Strong dojo, like that's lit up like a sumbitch. It's awesome.
Yeah, have you ever been to one of those shows, man?
I've never been to a Wrestle Strong show. No, I really wanted to go when they were in Goulburn because obviously I'm originally from there and I was going to meet up with family, but it just fell through. And I saw that you guys have been going to Bathurst. I currently have family in Bathurst, so I'm trying to really work out the dates of next time they go back there to try and get to one. But Sydney's just a little too far from Wagga. It's a 6-hour plus train ride if it's on time. So
yeah,
but yeah, definitely want to come. I did watch the Fight TV season 1, and then season 2 obviously went on to YouTube, and I've watched most of that. I've watched like a handful of their shows, but never in person, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think I could safely say I learned most of everything at Wrestle Strong. I put a lot of it together once I left and was kind of on my own. I didn't have people really critiquing me, if that made sense. I kind of just had to figure shit out after I left Wrestle Strong.
Well, that's
which is good. Wrestle Strong gave me all the tools. Suplex gave me that platform because it was my doing I left. But yeah. So
wrestling happens.
Yeah, wrestling happens. They gave me all the tools. I figured the shit out. Yeah.
And you just
but it's been really good coming back.
I feel
what was that?
I was just gonna say, you just kind of you obviously said you kind of, I think, and obviously I'm not going to knock Suplex here because you're still the current champion, but I feel like you were out they're really good, and a lot of the Suplex homegrown talent have been phenomenal. But I feel like you coming in, I don't want to say the skill level you're at because you were still a rookie, but you're still obviously a lot more well seasoned than some of the guys they were training. So it's kind of I've learned all this thing and put it together, and you got a platform to use them. But I feel like without your core trainer giving you that feedback or giving you that constructive criticism, was that difficult at all for you?
Yeah. At some matches, I just because you've obviously you've had a bad match, right? And I'm not. Yeah, just you. You're the shit. No.
No, but no, I feel you. Yeah, no. You go backstage and you're just fuck,
yeah.
because in your head what you want to get across, right? And it's just oh.
Yeah, and honestly, because I'm assuming you love this shit as much as I do, so it's a double-edged sword because say you have a bad match, right? It'll fuck you up for weeks. You'll be miserable. And you'll be thinking about what you did wrong as opposed to what you did right. But also on the other side, if you have a good match, you won't stop thinking about that either.
But I've always been my worst critic where everyone's oh, fuck. There was I think it was 2 or 3 times I managed to have what was voted backstage, for whatever that's worth, as match of the night. They're fuck yeah, match of the night. I'm yeah, but they could have done this and they could have done this. And it's fuck, man. And this is where the whole botching comes in, because it's the fans don't know if you've forgotten a spot or whatever, but you're always just it's just...
Yeah. I know what you mean.
I think wrestlers in general are just wired to look at the negatives over the positives. like,
yeah, I know, right? Because we always have to improve. You never stop learning. Like, I don't care how long you've been doing this shit for. There's always more information to absorb, and like it can be the smallest thing, but like it, yeah, it just never stops.
like there's, and again, I'm not going to sit here and like name names because this podcast's not about that. But there is wrestlers in Australia that have been like, oh, I've been doing this for 20, 30 odd years, which is like, hey, look, if you've had that longevity, I respect that aspect of it. But they're like, oh, I'm a veteran, so I don't need to train anymore. And you're just like, motherfucker, what? I'm sorry, what?
You don't even have to name the names, brother. I know exactly.
Like, I'm sorry, but you're not there. Like, I'm not saying you have to do fish bumps every week if you've been doing it for 20 years, but like, come on now. There's a reason we stick to the fundamentals.
Yeah, you have to keep the stuff in your system. Like in times when like I haven't trained to have as many shows, like you get rusty, and you really do. Not just like you're going to get winded. Like you will like make a really stupid mistake, like forgetting to sell like say you crash into a corner, you do that big circle around or something, depending on what you take. Like if you forget something as small as that, you fuck up. It just falls apart. It's all these tiny things that like you have to train to keep it in your head.
I've seen dudes, and it's like it's not even that it's a botch. It's just sometimes you get sweaty. But I've seen dudes slip on arm drags. I had a dude fall on top of me while he was giving me an arm drag, and I had to tuck and roll because I almost fucking had his whole body land on my head. And I'm just like, on one hand, I'm like, bro, how do you fuck that up? But at the same time, it's just like, you keep working. But he was like, oh my God, I fucked up the arm drag. And I'm just grabbing him and like, not to, it's a podcast, right? We know what wrestling is, not to pull it too much. But I'm literally like, just grabbed him and like, bro, it's fine. Just calm the fuck down. But for like the match we recovered, it was decent. But the whole time it was just like the arm drag. And it's like, it's those little things, to minimize those little things. Like I've seen dudes get dropped on suplexes, and it's like, again, I get it. Fatigue, shit happens. But for the most part, that's like one of the first moves along with the, the scoop slams that you lose. It's like, you need to train those little things and just keep moving basically. Like I've done shows where, we had I can't even remember what it was. It was some sort of like festival thing where I did, a couple of matches throughout the weekend, and then I refereed a couple here and there. And then we had an actual proper show the week after it. It was a Rumble show. So I did double duty. And at the time, like, I wasn't my heaviest, but I definitely wasn't my fittest either. I was like blown up like a sumbitch, but I felt like looking back at the performance, as you say, because I was constantly moving and doing it over and over in such a short amount of time, there was some of my best performances looking back at them. It was really long-winded. I'm sorry, but like you just brought that up, and it just this is meant to be about CJ Young. But no, I'm glad that you had like I can't even say that you're a rookie because really the amount of time I've been out of the ring, you've probably got almost double the amount of experience that I had of 3.5 years, or whatever the fuck it was. But like the fact that it's someone that's newer to the business, still have the wherewithal to be like, basically like, look, this is great and I was great here, but this could be better and this could be better. And I really appreciate and respect you that you're able to go, no, like, we got to put the work in. And I love that.
Thanks, man. And like, I also it's really easy to fall down the track of just nothing but criticism to yourself. Like you could have matches tonight and just be thinking about that one thing. You also have to take the time to realize all this other shit was also cool. Like, cause I see it all the time. Like people that are really new, they have a match, everything's good except for this one spot or something happened there or they're off on that. And like, that's all they'll be talking about backstage and they fucking have their chin in their chest and they're just pouting. I'm just like, dude, did you not just see what you just did? Like, you just did a bunch of cool shit and you're worrying about that one tiny thing. Like, yes, of course, worry about it, process it, think about how you could be better and move on. But, like, you can't just fixate on that one thing. As I said, yes, like, acknowledge it, go, yep, I fucked that up. How can I improve this? But also give yourself a pat on the back. You did something really cool.
What's been, I don't even know how to word this because there's probably a handful of them, but what's been one of the biggest, I was going to say, what's been one of the biggest lessons that you have learned throughout the being able to go through multiple systems and, pick up bits and pieces here and there, it's kind of to forge who you are?
That's a loaded question. Like, I have a lot of answers. Be careful who you trust in wrestling, and don't take shit so personally. Like, that's why I left Russell Strong. I took everything so personally. It could be, like, for example, something I was all pissed off about was, like, I was never on a poster. I was there for a couple of years and never on a poster. I'd see people come after me, be put on a poster, and then I'd see those same people, like secondary luchador characters, get put on a poster. And I'm just there like, man, I dyed my hair, fucking I did my makeup. Like, I took it really personally, and like, I probably shouldn't have. I probably could have just had a conversation with them, but I didn't. I just pouted it out. I could have just been like, hey, man, I'd like to be on a poster. It'd be kind of cool. But I let all these tiny little things build up. And like, it's kind of on me because I don't know if I expressed it enough, but like, and even if I didn't, like, it's not as big of a fucking deal. Like, it's just a poster. Like, these tiny things. Like, it's probably my age really that came down to, just because when you get into wrestling when you're young, you're gonna have a little bit of an ego. It happens.
I mean, humans in general, like the whole, like, everyone has some sort of self-esteem issue. Self-esteem boils down to ego. It's like, to an extent, we all have an ego, right? Whether for better or for worse. And I can understand that, where you, as a young kid, especially if you're, being told that, hey, you're doing all this and doing all that, and you're doing everything right, and then you're like, okay, but why aren't I getting this, and this? And like, it's an actual thing where I've had conversations with, and I'm obviously, they don't want to be known to the public at the moment, but I've had conversations about this with ECW management, where I'm like, look, it's like, hey, who should be this champion and that champion, whatever. And I'm just like, I'll always joke and just be like, as long as it ain't me, because like, fuck that shit. Like, because I've been out of the ring for God knows how long. Like, I don't want to just come back and have someone go, oh, we've missed you, here you go, fuck that. But I'm like, there was times where coming through, I had people that, same thing, came after me and they won titles or they were on posters, and I'm just kind of like, oh, but you're telling me I'm doing everything right. Like, it's one of those things. It's like, yeah, obviously I want to be champion, but you've also got to know, like, I would never sit there and bitch and moan and politic to be champion. But there is that part of me that's like, oh, but my match was better than his, and you told me that I did this better than him. Like, so why does he get? And then you just got to realize what wrestling is. It just kind of, it's just this thing. Where it's okay to be upset about things, but as you say, you're able to mature and realize that, hey, maybe you kind of just should have had a conversation. Like,
yeah, and it's also like, everyone has a turn eventually. Like, it just as much as your skill matters, it also matters like what makes sense. It's just like, because you can't, like, yeah, you've done everything right, you've worked hard, but you don't just magically get a belt. It has to like make sense in terms of story and all this type of stuff. Like yeah, I was working hard training back then, but like with my character and what when I was introduced, like I couldn't just expect, like, give me a championship, I want to be in the main event. It's just all this like I see it all the time, man, and it's just embarrassing to think that you're like that. But yeah, I'm happy that I've had my moments. I'm very content. I could not give a shit if I win another wrestling match, as long as I just have a good match and have a good time. That's all I care about.
But how did the conversation come to be where you were like, hey, like, and obviously without going into too much detail, you went to Suplex for a little bit, you've done some things there, but now you've gone back to Wrestle Strong, and you're currently doing both, as you say. You're a very, very busy person. How did that come to be? Because it's really good to see, and it's a conversation that I've had with multiple people. Alistair Fleming, who actually sent in a question that I'll get to later, we had this conversation of like, so many people just refuse to work together, and it's just like, why? Like, we all have the same goal. Why would you not work together? So like, that's a whole podcast episode of that shit. But like, how did that conversation come to be where you're just like, look, I'm going to do this, and now you're going to work with both? Because again, that's the shit that I love to see. Like, wrestling is better when everyone is working together, because it's wrestling and we all have the same outcome. We're not going to make billions of dollars and be the next WWE or AEW, or none of us are even going to be TNA at this point. Like, so how did that come to be, man, where you kind of just went, hey guys, like, I want to come back?
Well, first of all, I didn't ask to come back. They asked me, which
awesome.
Always, yeah, which always makes me feel really good. But but no, I'm gonna have to like backtrack a while here, because it's like I left in 2022. I was just, I wasn't happy with how I was being treated at the time. And like, a lot of it was just being young, not understanding, taking shit too personally. And it also didn't help that I just got out of a relationship with someone there that was with the company that I was dating. So like, I had more incentive to go. So like, that didn't help either. And so I went up with a few of the, my friends at the time of wrestling for Wrestle Strong up to a Suplex show, because like I was already, in Sydney. I was still living there at the time. I was like, yeah, I'll come up for this. You know, I've never been to a Suplex show. It'd be fun. One of the guys there, I won't mention his name because he might be embarrassed, but like he was practicing moves and he did a backflip and he fucked his knee real bad. Like it properly swelled up. It was okay, like in a few weeks, but like it was scary at the time. And I just happened to have my gear in my bag. I'm like, hey, go if you need someone to fill in because it was a 6-man tag. I was like, yeah, I'll do whatever, man. And Spade was like, yeah, right, go on. So I did.
Spade's good for that, though. Spade's really good with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I had a lot of people vouching for me. Because some of those guys, they also did a Rumble for Wrestle Strong a few months before that as well. So, like, I knew a few of them. And, yeah, did the match. It was all right. And the next day I had a Wrestle Strong show. And I was the only wrestler on that show. Like, for context, there was a battle royal at the start of the show, right? Yep. Every person in that battle royal had a match except me. So I was butthurt as fuck. And if they're like, looking back, I don't really care if there wasn't a spot. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Like, I got to learn someone. I got to look good. Who cares? Whatever. Easy night. Like, I should have been looking at it that way. I was like, yeah, fuck, these guys have to do double duty. I'm just in and out. Suck shit, you know? That's how I look at it now. But at the time, it was just like, what? Well, I'm not good enough. Like, what the fuck? Like, I want to show what I can do. This sucks, man. I have a friends coming down to watch me. And like, but now, as I said, I'm just like, easy night. But, so yeah, I did that, and like coming back from Wrestle Strong, because people wrestling is so tribalistic, man. Like I had people at Wrestle Strong upset with me that I did the Suplex show. They've never even been to a Suplex show. Like for fuck's sake, like I won't mention names. I don't think it's anyone there currently at Wrestle Strong that were upset with me. I know, like Lee's from Dean, they didn't really give a shit.
Because they trained you enough to know that you could handle yourself by that point. So they were probably very proud of you without actually saying it. But it's always, and it's like that in Canberra now currently. There is people, again, won't name names, that Slam is the biggest company in Canberra, and I'll name them, and I'm always putting them over and sharing their stuff because I just fucking love professional wrestling and I like being a fan. And there's so many people that are like, oh, well, they did this and they did that. I'm like, cool. They're succeeding. Awesome. I love professional wrestling. That makes me happy. Like...
Yeah, I guess wish we could all just be one united team. And then, like, imagine the rumbles we could have, man. Like, just with all these people, just from all these little promotions and big promotions, that'd just be like, oh.
Like the legitimate surprise entrance, because you're like, you don't know who has the weekend off and who doesn't. Like,
it'd be great. And like, and everyone would probably make a lot of money, but egos and all this bullshit.
Yes, but yeah, no.
Like young CJs, basically, young CJs.
But I do like though, CJ, that like, you know, with me just saying like, hey, like what prompted that, and you just kind of backtrack to give context. I like that you are able to look at that objectively and go like, hey, look, like, you know, maybe like, oh, I didn't agree with this or didn't agree with that, but you've matured enough to realize that you could have handled it different. And I think we've all done that. Like there's situations where there's a promotion in Queensland that I'll never touch just because of the way I was treated by management. But the way that I handled it to the talent around me makes me fucking cringe because like they're still there and they're still killing it. And I'm just like, I wish them nothing but the best. But I'm like, because of my attitude towards everyone, when it should have just been, like it probably shouldn't have been as big as it was, but it should have just been directed to that one person of, hey, like this has gone on. It's wrong. I don't agree with it. But instead I was just like, basically, fuck all of you all. I hate you all. And made an absolute dick of myself. And now I'm like, well, never getting booked there again. And it is what it is. But it's embarrassing to look back on. But yeah, back to all this context, like, and that Wrestle Strong show that I did when I was in that was my last one. Like, at the time, the way I was figuring out, that's the straw that broke the camel's back.
I tried to talk to Lisa about it, but I was a dick in my approach, and I got treated like a dick back, and it was just a silly Facebook argument. And it went to nothing. I could have definitely approached that a lot better. And I kind of just blew up. I was like, "Oh, fuck you all, man! Screw you." I didn't know if I was going to get booked anywhere. It's for you guys. I'm getting him. But yeah, I just went, screw it, like whatever, whatever. As I said, like breaking up with like my girlfriend at the time, there, like I needed to probably go away anyway. So I probably was subconsciously self-destructing in a way, if I'm being really honest with myself.
No, I feel that. Yeah, because you could have just gone, hey, like, Dean, hey, Lisa, this is a situation that's going on. Like, I just need time away. And it probably, but again, it's hindsight. And I do like that you're owning that, though. Like, where you're like, look, it could have been better, but this is what happened. But you live and learn. And the fact that so we'll fast forward then. Like, you did Suplex for a little bit. At what point did Wrestle Strong then contact you? Because I didn't know that they contacted you, obviously, hence why I asked the question. But the fact that they actually contacted you first is obviously a very good sign. So how did that come to be, man?
Yeah, I feel like there is perception that like I came crawling back, and it's just not the case. But what happened was like about not long, because like I did a podcast because I let a lot of shit fester. I didn't talk to anyone about it. I guess I got bitter, and when I got on a podcast, I was like, "Oh, this is the perfect opportunity to tell all these people what I think of them." And like, it wasn't the place to do it. If I wanted to have that conversation, I should have had it to them. I shouldn't have gone on someone's podcast. It probably shouldn't have been interviewing people anyway.
You did mention to me, you're like, look, there's something that I need to make sure that, I kind of redeem. And I'm glad that it's come up naturally as well. Like that you've just kind of gone, look, this happened and it happened. But no, man, I appreciate your honesty. But yeah, continue. Sorry.
Yeah. So, fuck, where was I?
Yeah, you're on the podcast. You're a very young CJ Young was a very angry young man.
Yes. He was troubled. Well, let's just ignore that this was just barely over a year ago, but yeah.
Dude, a lot can happen in a year, especially in professional wrestling. The Rock's career was like 6 years long.
Yeah, fuck yeah. But like not long after I did that podcast, it was probably like a month later, I was just like, man, what the fuck? Why did I do that? Because like I watched it back, and I won't tell you the reason why I watched it back, but I had to watch it back, and I'm just like, yeah, that did not come off good. So I messaged who I could and like apologized, going, hey, that was stupid. I shouldn't have done that, right? And this was probably a year ago, maybe a bit less, when I apologized. And like, they're like, yeah, it's all right. Like they didn't really care all that much. But still, like I think I cared more than they did because I was embarrassed. Like I basically just embarrassed myself. Like, as I said, was not the place to have that fucking tantrum, essentially. But yeah, fast forward, some time passes, and I get a message from Lisa. Like, this wasn't long ago. This was because I had a show on Oberon. It was funny because, like, a few days before she messaged me, she unknowingly put a flyer for their show in my mailbox because she was just doing the rounds around Oberon. Because, like, what they do, which is really cool. Like, a bunch of the guys from Sydney, they did it with the Baffin show as well. I helped them with the Baffin show because I was on it. Like, they will, like, travel a couple hours on their weekend, and they will just put up posters where they can, put flyers in mailboxes where they can, and like they're hours away, and that costs them money with petrol and their time. Like, especially like when you have a full-time job, time, like your free times are very, very, precious. So I commend them for that. That's really cool. But like when I saw the flyer, I was like, for fuck's sake, like, god damn it. Like, I just found my house. Because I was still like,
you're just like, they planted it. They made sure I saw it.
Yeah, I was just like, god damn it. But yeah, and then I got a message from Lisa, and like we had a talk, and then it was pretty random. Like it was just just a nice chat, like just about wrestling and all that stuff. And then like she said, "Oh, there's a heavyweight battle royal at the show at Oberon. You can be on it if you want." I'm like, "Oh," and like I had to think about it for a sec because I'm just like, I know if I went back to Wrestle Strong, which I did, that I would upset a few people that don't like them, and I did. I've lost friends because of it, which I think is just fucking pathetic.
It's fucking wrestling. It's wrestling.
Yeah, like people I've been mates with for years, and you're gonna get all butthurt because I did a show. Like it's fucking angry spandex sport. It's not that serious, man. Like, so yeah, I've lost because of it. But I'm just like, I'm not going to cater my wrestling career in case I upset one of my friends. And if they're going to get all butthurt that I did one of those shows, and they're not really my friend anyway. Like, but anyway, I'm getting on a tangent here. But so like she offered, I was like, you know what? Yeah, I will. And to my surprise, like all but one were really, really like nice and like receptive, and like there was no ill will. Everyone was really nice. It was just really pleasant, and I ended up doing a double duty that show. Actually, I also did a hardcore match because one of the guys was sick. And like for some, like I don't know how they did it, but like the Oberon's not is a pretty small town, right? But like he packed that place. There was over 200 people there.
See, that's the shit. Right? That's the shit right there.
Yeah, and not to toot my own horn, but bloody toot, and that's the loudest like ovation I've ever had. Because all they heard was, "He's from Oberon." They're like, "Really?" so yeah, and like in both those matches, I didn't go over, and like I didn't care. Would I have cared about 2 years ago? Probably. I probably would have been really upset about it. But like now, it's just like it didn't matter. Like just like the guy Alistair actually. Funny enough that you brought him up earlier. Like
the question actually revolves over the match you and him had with Oberon. So tell your story, and then I'll push the question forward after you finish your story.
Yeah. The only point of that, the only point of that is because like I also went over because he was going to be in like a world title match the show after that, and you know you want to keep you guys looking strong. That was the reason, and I completely understand that. I didn't mind. But like, and I'm really happy. I don't care anymore. But yeah, what's Alice's question?
But at the end of the day, though, like just before I ask the question, you as a young kid getting into wrestling, going like I want to do this, and then you start training. It's always like in the back of your mind, like whether it's a big city, little city of, and as I said, you've moved around a little bit, but you know it's where you're residing currently. So for all intents and purposes, it's your hometown. There's always that thing of, man, I'd love to wrestle in my hometown, and you got to wrestle in your hometown, and that's fucking cool, man. Like I the one SUPLEX show I did, I was just in a battle royal in Goulburn, and I just turned heel, so I did the cheap heat thing of fuck, they're gonna cheer me, so I wore my old high school jersey out to get cheered, and then I threw it on the ground and stomped on it and made a fuss and yada 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 because cheap heat, brother. But like I was like, it sucks. I still want to have a proper match one day in my hometown, but I'm like, I got to wrestle in my hometown. Like might have been the drizzling shits, might have been one of the first people out, but got to perform in my hometown, and it's really cool for you that, you know, you got to do that, and I love that. But Alistair, he's been a little bit cheeky, actually. He just said, on a scale of 1 to 10, how hard did you get kicked in the head at Oberon by Alistair Fleming?
Bro, like, there is, in some of the highlight, like, I think advertising for one of their last Gale shows, I think one of their, I want to say July ones, or July or June Gale shows, in the promo video, you will see that kick, and he kicks me square in the fucking head, like with like kicks in wrestling, like you want to like get like the side of the neck, stuff like that. Like there are soft spots. I don't know, I probably shouldn't be giving this shit away, but whatever, who cares?
We all know what wrestling is at this point.
Yeah, angry spandex ball, but established that.
Angry spandex.
And like he told me to tilt your head like this if you can, and so I can get you here. I'm like, sounds good. Like we even practiced the kick just so I know, like, oh yeah, cool. And like I don't know whose fault it was. Like I felt like I turned my head wrong. I could have done a bit. He could have been carried away. Could have been a bit of both. But he got me right in the fucking ear, and it killed. But what he doesn't mention is The first fucking move he did to me, he kicked me in like the ribs and it winded me. Like in the first 30 seconds of the match. And then like not long after that, I got kicked in the fucking, I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm in a UFC fight.
Well, I mean, Alistair does have the legitimate, like MMA kickboxing
he does.
So if he's kicking you regardless. But I did the same thing, but it was an accident. I took a forearm from Tank, who he's left-handed, and in the moment, I forgot that he was left-handed. So turning my head just turned, boom, forearm straight to the fucking nose, and I was just like, he's like, "You good?" I'm like, "Nope."
Yeah,
it happens. It happens.
I have well, I wrestled Tank once, and
man, some of those shots, man, he doesn't hold back.
No, he doesn't. Which
for better or for worse,
it wouldn't be so bad if he did it in the right spot. Who said that? No, nah. I remember when I wrestled Tank. Actually, I think it might have been my last show at ICW.
Oh, was it the tag match, maybe?
It
it was the singles match for the tag titles because your partner couldn't make it. Yes, I was like, there was some sort of.
No one can make it.
I was like, I made some sort of fucking graphic or something. Yes, that's right. I ended up getting turned into the singles match. That was right. Yeah.
Yeah. And like he was telling me, I do hard forearms. Like, that's cool if you do it in a safe spot. And I told him specifically, Tank, I just had a tooth extracted because another dickhead didn't know how to hit properly. Please don't hit me where my tooth was extracted. What does he do? He multiple times hits me in the jaw where I've had a tooth removed. And like, it's still black and like fucking, it hasn't closed in yet. It was only like a few days beforehand. So I lost my shit and slapped him in the face as hard as I could, and then I gave him a bulldog so he couldn't hit me back.
Modern problems require modern solutions.
Yeah, like, and it's like, all right, if you want to just like flail about, then I can flail about just as hard, or if not harder, and I'm not going to let you get any more. You know what I mean? But yeah,
we love Tank here, but damn, some of those shots sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, that show, he brought like 48 donuts for everyone, so like that kind of makes things better.
Hell yeah, that was like, I got a message actually about that, and I was like, motherfucker, I was like, you bring donuts to the show that I don't go to?
Like, this bro came in with 48 donuts over his shoulder like they were a championship.
But that's camaraderie though. Like I miss those shit. Like it's like, it's like we used to, like back in the day where like on the off days you'd fucking fly the town and then you'd go out for like pizza or some shit. Like that's the shit to me. Like,
yeah, it's probably like, it is those small things, like the road trips, like the Macca's run after show, because nothing's fucking ever open, so it's always Macca's.
But at the end of the day, my thing was, even when I was working out and I had abs, my thing was, whenever I wrestled, it was like, I just want my chicken nuggets. Because I've wrestled, so I've earned my chicken nuggets.
Yeah, like a lot of guys do this. It's probably not safe, but like I don't tend to eat before shows because like I don't want to look bloated and shit like that. So like I will, like, if I eat something, it's something very small, like a piece of fruit, maybe a protein bar, but even those kind of make me bloat now. So like I'm not. So like I really avoid eating it. Sometimes like I'll go eating nothing all day, and I'm a big boy, so that's hard. So after like the show, like when I put the ring in the truck or whatever it might be, like I order way too much food every single time. Like I will get like a burger or two and nuggies, and like I just go ham, and then I feel sick the next day. But it's worth it.
Definitely worth it. But
and like I don't feel guilty about it because everyone does it. I see everyone do it.
Yes.
The healthiest motherfucker will be there at Macca's chowing down on a burger after every show. Why? Because it's the only thing that's fucking open, and it's what you do as a wrestler.
That's like, obviously not here in Australia, but in the US, you hear the indie wrestlers, they have the little clicks because it's like McDonald's versus Waffle House. Because they're like, again, they're the only things that are really open. So you'll have some that will go to the Waffle House, and you'll have the others that will go to the McDonald's, and there's always on the arguments of, which is the best, post-show feed. And then someone else chimes in, and it's like, whichever one's closest or whichever one's open.
Yeah, like sometimes, like there's been times where I've had to like go to the worst is going to a servo because it's either a pilot will give you diarrhea or a packet of chips. Pick your poison.
Actually, my debut match was in Cowra, right? Very small town. I love Cowra. Made my debut. Fucking take the ring back. It's midnight. Legit same thing. Servo pie. I felt so fucking sick the next day.
It's like, I just don't have pie some servos, man.
But then
I don't know what they put in them.
The last time though, they had like these pork rolls, and I'm like, I'm not even that big on pork in general, but I was like, I looked at them, I looked at the pies, I'm like, let's go. And it was surprisingly like the best fucking pork roll I'd ever had, and I was like, I'm glad I didn't go to McDonald's.
Yeah, like when I do the Newcastle Suplex shows, there used to be twin servos there in between Sydney and Newcastle, where they would have a Macca's on each side.
Yes, I used to go past them all the time with my dad when he was a truck driver.
They are both now Hungry Jacks, but the good thing is they are open pretty late, so like it's really refreshing to actually go to something different other than fucking Macca's after a show. Don't get me wrong, love Macca's after a show, but when you have Hungry Jacks next to Macca's, which one are you going to pick? Like, they have good burgers. Burgers are better than Hungry Jacks.
Actually, I had a funny moment with my sister coming back from a concert with those ones. At one point, there was the one Macca's open. I don't know if the other one was shut or if they were renovating or what, but we had to go across the road to get to it. And then we left and forgot that we crossed the road, and we drove like 60 kilometers in the wrong direction back towards Sydney.
Yeah. There's been times I've been in cars and like the person's driven in the wrong fucking direction for an hour, and then that's another 2 hours because you have to go back, and then like it's just like, I want to fucking go home.
Like legit, it's like 3 a.m. or whatever. Like by that point, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like I made $20 tonight. I'm lost it in like I spent it all at Macca's. This is bullshit. I just want to go home.
But so again, you don't have to just answer one, because again, this is going to be somewhat of a loaded question. You can have a handful, but just we talk about opponents and just basically fun road stories. But CJ, what are some of your favorite matches of all time, both that you've seen as a fan and that you've personally had yourself?
Well, as a fan, I like a lot of matches. But the first one I always think of is Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 25.
Yes.
Like, I've never heard anyone say that's overrated. Like everyone always, except fucking Dave Meltzer for shit.
4.75, brother, because it was too formulaic. Fucking
like, shut the fuck up,
dude! I literally ranted about that exact match with Nick Meltino a couple of weekends ago.
Like your five slapping little bitches can get 7 stars for doing just that. Slapping the fires, doing a bunch of flips that mean shit. Like what the fuck? But like these, shut the fuck up, you weird
when you get off the podcast, go and have a look, because like I don't follow Dave, right? But you see the things pop up on like Facebook and Instagram and shit. Someone posted on Facebook the ratings for every match on All In, which just happened yesterday or the day before, whatever happened. Just go have a look at those when this finishes, and you'll have a little giggle to yourself.
No, I'll yell at the ground. Like, I'm sick of this.
It's like 2 6-star matches and 7-star. Like, fucking no.
You crusty old balding fucking brain rotted. Go to bed.
And again, like, it's all opinion, and he's like, this is just my opinion. It's like, yeah, but if your opinion's based on 5 stars, and like Flair and Steamboat was like 4.5, and it's like, oh, but Okada and Kenny is 7, but I still enjoyed Flair versus Steamboat more. How? Make it make sense, Dave. That's all we're saying. But no, Taker versus Shawn, 25. Like 26 was really good as well because of the emotion, but I always go to that 25 one more as just a... Because of all the matches they had back in the day, they'd never really... Like, I think at a couple of like house shows and tours and stuff, they'd gone one-on-one, but on television... They'd never really had a proper, just regular one-on-one match. It was always,
they had the Hell in a Cell,
casket.
Yeah.
This was the first time they'd just gone, mano a mano or whatever, and it was just fucking awesome.
Yeah, WrestleMania 25 was really good. I really did. For some reason, one of the matches that always makes me really happy is Jericho versus the Legends, because like you just do not expect Steamboat to fucking actually like pull the shit off. Like, it just came out of nowhere because he did the stuff with Piper and Snooker, and like they weren't at like their best years were past them. But also, did you ever see that in that segment that Jericho and Piper did before that match?
Yes, to build it up. The whole like build up to that storyline of, you know, they did the thing where Jericho was just picking on Legends and picking on Flair and like week after week after week. And then like that whole thing as well, like as you said with Steamboat, like that led to him being in a random 10-man tag on Raw the next night, and then they actually had a singles match at Backlash, Jericho and Steamboat. That is a huge...
And they toured like
that might be a match of the week.
Matches in Japan and shit.
Yeah, and every match was different because Jericho wanted to be old school, and obviously Steamboat from another generation was like, "Fucking let's go then," and they just they called it out
58
there.
At the time. Fucking 58 years old, and he was doing the same shit he was doing in his 20s. It was crazy.
Yeah, like when he does like the body press to the floor over the top, you're just like, fuck, I'm too fat to do that. And I'm like, this old guy's doing it, so fuck you.
Yeah.
But no, man.
Yeah. But I can't think of any. Yeah, take a Sean, like, I can't really think of any others off the top of my head. Like, there's matches I like, but like, favorite. I really liked the 2023 Men's Royal Rumble. I'm thinking of a recent one. That was a good one.
That was probably the best built Rumble. Like it was so, again, Uncle Dave said it was formulaic, but I actually did a watch along here on the podcast, you know, cheap plug, with my wife and I. We've been doing our Rumble alongs for the last 2 or 3 years now. I think 3 years now. And we actually said, like, it was so obvious when you got about halfway through, you're like, okay, Cody's going to be number 30. But the way that they built that match and the stories and all the layers from start to finish was just, it was awesome. Like, it's one of the best Rumbles I've seen ever. And a lot of people go, oh, but it wasn't as good as the Attitude Era or this one and that one. And I'm like, we all have our preferences and that's fine. But you can't, if you look at it from a storytelling aspect, you can't watch that Rumble and say that it didn't deliver. Like, yeah, okay, maybe we could have had more surprises or whatever. But in terms of building stars and, you know, basically forming your biggest show of the year in WrestleMania, that Rumble was a masterpiece. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, and it was really cool because I was watching it with my friends and stuff, which always makes it so much better. But yeah, your second question was one of my favorite matches that I've had personally.
Yes.
I can know my favorite is it was against Arima.
Tremendous worker.
Oh, he's my favorite opponent. And and it was for the streaming title. I didn't. That's not when I won it. And I remember, like, I thought, like, at the time that I was, just because, like, I thought like I was just leaning towards the direction, but like it wasn't. And like I wasn't like upset about it. In the sense that I feel like it should be mine. I was just like, oh, that could have been nice, but like, he's really good. He deserves more time, but like, it still motivated me. I'm just like, okay, well, if I can't have it now, that's fine, but I'm going to make myself undeniable. So the next person that's going to get that belt is going to be me. And I don't know. It just really lit a fire under me. And I'm like, me and him just put together such a really good match. And I watch it back and I'm just like, if I like have a career-ending injury, or like something happens with my job and I can't wrestle anymore, like it's all my career is worth it just for that match. It's probably one of my favorite things I've ever done.
It's funny,
and I lost.
we brought up Tank before, right? And the match that he and Arima had was, you just have people where you, for whatever reason, you just mesh with when you get in the ring. And for whatever reason, I guess it made sense because, you know, powerhouse, high flyer, they just meshed so well. And it was one of my favorite matches that I've called, you know, ever on commentary of the couple of years that I've been doing commentary now. It was a phenomenal match, which is just a testament to, you know, Tank obviously did his part in that, but Arima was phenomenal. And because Benny announced here on this show that he was cleared, which made me so happy, but I was kept in the dark up until ICW Central West, sent me the poster maker, the match the match card to make the matches. And when I read Arima versus Benny the back rower, my response was literally just, here we fucking go. And I showed my wife what the match was, and even she was like, I cannot wait, because she's going to be there. She's going to be either first or second row. I can't remember what her ticket was, but she's going to be there actually just as a fan. And again, I said bring your gear. She's going to bring all the cue cards in case, ring announcer miraculously loses his voice or something. But she's so fucking keen for Arima versus Benny.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be great. I wish I could be there, but I am booked in Oberon again.
Yes, hometown boy again. Why not? Gets to do it
yes,
all over
I don't
again.
Know. Yes, and it won't be so last minute because with that Oberon show I did, that was within a few days before the show I got booked. That's when I was messaged and approached. And which is just pretty crazy because I remember when I saw that flyer that week, I'm just like, man, fuck you guys. I want to be on that show. I want to wrestle on that one. Fuck you guys.
And it all worked out though, CJ. It all worked out.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it's almost like the universe just threw me a fucking bone. It was really unprompted because I hadn't spoken to Lisa in a few months because I did my apologies and whatnot. And they did a show in Oberon before that and I was considering going, but I feel like a few people were still, they needed a bit more space away from me because I did I feel like I touched a few buttons.
Yes.
If that's the phrase. And they needed, I feel like they needed time after the apology to process it and whatnot. But that was my decision. I was welcomed, but not by everyone. I'm just you know what? I'm not going to go to their promotion and just make half the locker room uncomfortable. No, just no. I'll let it sit, I guess. And so yeah, that's how it actually came up because she asked me oh, why didn't you end up coming? I explained why, and then I was oh, that's fine. They'll be right. And then if not, give them time. I was okay, whatever. What's the worst that can happen? And yeah, everyone was nice to me except for one. That's one is still being a dick, but I don't really care. I'd rather focus on the other 20 or so people that are being nice to me other than opposed to the one. There's always one person.
Well, that's
in
what I
every
was
locker
saying.
room
You look at it as
that.
any workplace, dude.
Yeah.
Every job I've had, there's always been that one guy or one girl that's just can you please just shut the fuck up? And there's probably people that have thought about that about me as well. I know I can be obnoxious as fuck at times, and it is what it is. But it just you sometimes personalities don't mesh. Sometimes they do, and it's a fun time. But
yeah, there's always one or two of those people, and sometimes it could be all you, but sometimes it's always frustrating when you go out of your way to be nice to that person. You don't even like them. You've already made up your mind about them, but you go out of your way to be nice and polite. And they don't even have the decency to do that back. And all right, well, I'm just going to fucking ignore you then. At least pretend to fucking like me just to, just for a second, just while I'm there so I don't have to deal with your shit. You hate me more quietly.
That's one of those old school things in wrestling that I really do still appreciate. I know that there's a lot of younger people that come in and they're like, oh, this is stupid. But I love the going around and just shaking everyone's hand and saying hello and saying goodbye. Because it's look, whether I like someone, whether I don't, we're working. Our lives are in each other's hands. Let's just fucking go out there, have a killer match. And then we can go home, we can go, we don't have to have beers with each other after the show. We don't have to fucking be best friends. It's, it is what it is. But just you have to work together and be professional.
Yeah.
Which, unfortunately, professional in professional wrestling, as you know, again, without having to mention names, and it's not even just Australia, it's just in the world, it's just unfortunately ingrained that the professional part of wrestling isn't always there. But no, it's just, no, you focus on you focus on what you got to do, you focus on the people that matter, and it sounds super hippy dippy, but it literally is just mind over matter. And again, that's something that even 5 years ago, I as a 25-year-old, I just lost my dad. I was angry at the world. I just go, no, fuck them all. But now I'm just ugh, I've had an attitude with people that probably didn't deserve it just because someone else had an attitude with me. And it's like, even that one person shouldn't have got an attitude. I shouldn't have let it like get under my skin or for whatever reason, you know, like just is what it is.
Yeah, I really do. Like, I don't know, like you've noticed, like I really do try to go out of my way to be nice to everyone. Like, even if I don't like them, and there are people everywhere, and even in Canberra that I just don't like, and I will never like them, but they don't know that. I will go out of my way to not be overly nice, but to just, just to let them know, like, hey, like, I'm not a dick. Like, you're welcome to sit near me. You're welcome to talk about your match. Like, I might not listen, but I'll make it fucking sound like I am.
Well, I feel like, because I've only ever seen you at wrestling shows, right? And every time we've talked on social media for whatever reason, every now and then, like, there'll be a meme or something there that we'll react to. But 9 out of 10 times, if we're having a conversation, it's something to do with wrestling. So I'm like, I don't know you well enough to say if I do or I don't like you. I'm just like, oh, he's a good kid kind of thing. But you have always gone out of your way to shake people's hands and say hello. And that's something that, again, I'm not a fucking crusty old vet. I'll never be a veteran. I hate people that throw out the, oh, I'm a veteran card. But, like, you've always been respectful. You've always been, you know, I guess, as you said, just nice to people. Like, which is, it's not that hard to do, right?
Yeah, it's not, and this is like, you have to go out of your way to not fucking at least be slightly courteous to people, you know? And, like, people are just, it's just not, it's always the people that are the most insignificant to the show. like they're just there. Like, they don't do much. And, like, I guess, like, why take it upon yourself to be an asshole? Like, just, it's not hard to just be like, hey, man, how you doing? Oh, not too bad. Oh, cool. Like, that's it. That's not hard. I just did it then to no one.
Hey, how's the wife? Yeah, good. How's yours? Yeah, good. Cool. Like, you know, how's fucking, you know, whatever you're doing on a Sunday? Like, how's football? How's church? You enjoying your hymns, brother? Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Let's go.
Like, I'm sure you've had a few people in locker rooms where you're like, hey, man, how you doing? They're like, hi. Yeah. They go out of the way to be so fucking dicky about it in their response. Like, they're more passive aggressive than a fucking cat. Like,
it's like, hey, man. It's like, yep. I'm like, okay. I'm just gonna fuck myself.
It's always overly sassy or like really bloody. Yeah, oh my, shut the fuck up. Like,
yeah, my name's Jim Bob, and fuck you. I'm like, okay, fuck Jim Bob. I don't know how you got booked then, but okay.
Yeah, who the fuck let this cunt in?
But before we just go on a rant and start to bury ourselves, CJ, we'll keep this on the up and up, because
also, like, I know we said we want to bury one, but like, I definitely bury Dave Meltzer, and I stand by that. And you better not remove it.
Oh, bro, no, I'll leave that in. Like, I was like literally last weekend having this conversation with Nick Maltino, where like every time the star rating comes up, both of us, we go to Kurt Angle's never had a 5-star match, and let that sink in. And I literally brought up the HBK Taker match that you mentioned just before. And I'm just like, 4.75. Like, no.
I feel like that quarter was Sean didn't slap his fire hard enough when he hit a super kick.
Oh, Jesus. But speaking of, like, you know, we're talking about like favorite matches and stuff, and you can answer this in any fashion you like. You can be the ultimate mark, which I do prefer, but if you want to be more realistic and make yourself seem professional, that's okay too. But it's just, who is your ultimate dream opponent? I usually say dead or alive, but if you've got some more realistic goal opponents, you can just rattle them off too. And what is your ultimate, like, dream stipulation? Because you have done hardcore matches and dog collar matches and a couple of little fun things that I look at and go, ooh, that looks really fun, and he got to do it. So, I don't know, that some bitch is living my dream, but you know what? Good for him.
Yeah. Well, so dream opponents, dream matches. Well, opponents, I'm gonna one realistic one and not so realistic one. Like, someone like I've wanted to wrestle a singles match for years is Dean Draven. We've had like stuff in Battle Royals, like he chopped the fucking shit out of me in Oberon.
He lit me up like a son bitch in, I think it was 2019 in the ICW Rumble. Chopped me like a motherfucker. It was a bigger sweetheart afterwards, and I was just like, nope, it's fine. Like, it's okay.
Yeah, and like, they're not unsafe. Like, it's all in the right spots. And if it isn't, it's probably your fucking fault.
Yeah, he got me. He got me in the throat on one of them just because, like, again, it was just miscommunication, and he couldn't have been like the biggest sweetheart backstage afterwards. I'm like, yeah, it's fine, dude. Like, this shit happens. I'm like, it's good. Like, give me 5. Let me just take a breath, and I'll be all right. Like,
a bunch of my new promotional photos got taken at Wrestle Strong. But it was a week. It was like a whole week after the show. And my chest is still bruised in all the photos. And it's funny because the Oberon, like you'll see it's my cover photo on Facebook, the cover photo for the Oberon show, it's got me and Dean next to each other. And like, I just think it's really funny how like Dean's just there with his arms crossed and I'm just there with my chest bruised and Dean's like, yeah, that's right. I did that shit and I'll do it again. But yeah, realistic dream opponent is Dean. And I'm trying to train more in Penrith. So I'm really hoping that's going to happen eventually. Unrealistic dream opponent. Gun for Rey Mysterio. That'd just be so cool.
Hell yeah!
I don't know what the fuck. Yeah, like yeah. Well, you said be Mark, so I'm being a Mark. But yeah. In a perfect world, in my dreams, gun for Rey Mysterio, easy.
Hell yeah.
Stipulations. I've done a lot of stipulations, honestly. Like, I've done ladder matches, I've done death matches, I've done Hell's Kitchen matches, I've done dog collar death matches, fucking done hardcore matches, rumbles, battle royals, triple threats, fatal four-way, fatal five-way. I've done a lot. But I reckon a TLC would be fun. I haven't done a TLC yet. That'd be cool.
That's the two most common answers on this seem to be either TLC or cage matches. And I'm like, TLC is like my all-time favorite fucking stipulation. Just TLC 2 made me like want to be a wrestler. And I'm just like, you're like,
love TLC
like, yeah, love it. So TLC for CJ Young. But like the thing is though, like you're a tall son of a bitch. You get halfway up the ladder. That's an unfair advantage. Like,
yeah. Oh my God. It's on. I did an elbow drop off the top of the ladder in my ladder match. It was a Farmer actually, not that long ago. And like when I jumped off, like the rung broke under my weight of me, like pushing off because they were like pretty shitty ladders that have been sitting there for years. And like I landed flat on my fucking face.
Hi, I'm CJ Young. Welcome to Jackass.
Yeah, like I landed like flat on my face, and it's like I gave him like I hit Aaron just, but it was almost like a clothesline while he was lying down. Like it was not what I was trying to do, but the ladder failed me. But I'm a big boy, so you know this shit happens. But I'm just so happy that I landed like on my face and not on my fucking neck.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll have to seek that footage out because that sounds like a fun time though.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, and also I guess I don't really have a desire to do cage matches because the pit shows, there's no ring, it's a cage.
Yeah, basically.
It's just So like I've kind of already done them and I've used them. Like I've thrown people into them. Like I don't have that itch.
I dig that. CJ Young in a TLC match. Someone make it happen.
Yes, I have to harass the right people. Like I said, I wanted to end the trilogy of me and Arima in a ladder match. Got the main event, which is really cool. And like I was annoying him for months. This was while Arima was injured. I was speaking about Arima to Arima. I was like, "Hey man, like this was not long after I won the streaming title the first time," and I'm just like, "Hey, when you come back, we need to finish our trilogy in a ladder match." He's like, "Fuck yeah, that'd be awesome." Because of course it's going to be. Look at him. He's a flippy boy. He loves ladder matches. And I felt like if I because like I wrestled Arima twice before and he beat me every single time. And I feel like if I beat him in a match that's more suited to his capabilities, it would kind of mean more because like it just make me finally winning mean more if I could beat him at his own game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Like it like the odds were stacked more against me. You know, that was my idea. I thought it was cool. And Spade was like, "Fine, fucking leave me alone. Shut up. You got your ladder match." And also, I'm pretty sure Arima was doing the same shit, just constantly messaging him, go on.
You won't do it, Spade. You're scared.
Yeah. Go on,
Love it.
pussy. Give us a ladder.
Love
But
it.
yeah, but yes, yeah.
Oh,
So we
yeah.
got to yeah, we did some cool shit. It's kind of funny. Like I really liked that ladder match, but like I still like my singles match I had with him the second time. Like there's something about that match. I guess I'll have to send it to you. Like I'd never like I've really stolen the show before with someone. Like I've had good matches, but I've never like had something that like really people like what the fuck? How did you do that? Like you guys did something really cool there. But, like I remember like Spade messaging me. That was definitely match of the night. When I was on the train ride home, and I was like nearly in tears, going, "Oh, yay! I did it!"
Fuck yes. Fuck yes. But yeah, man, definitely send me the link and I'll check it out after we wrap up here. But before we jump into the plugs and whatnot, CJ, because we're a little bit over an hour now, I always and the like the official questions with a non-wrestling question, just kind of like a little fun fact to the person that I'm talking to. Try my best to tailor it to the individual, but again, I don't really know much about you aside from wrestling. But what I do know is that you're a bit of a rock music fan. A big
Yeah.
fan of Slash and Miles Kennedy, who let's fucking go 100%. But what is a guilty pleasure band that people wouldn't expect CJ Young to listen to, if any?
I really like the Red Dead Redemption 2 soundtrack.
Okay, that's very obscure. I was expecting like some sort of obscure, but you know what? I fuck with that. That's my all-time favorite video game.
Me too.
That is a masterpiece.
Yeah, like, and there's a guy called Christian Lawson. He does covers of all the songs from the soundtrack, and they are so fucking good. I have to send I'll send them to you.
Christian Lawson, yeah, definitely send me like his name and stuff, because I'll definitely check him out and shit while I'm like editing and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm really attached to all those songs as well because they helped me get through losing one of my mates and stuff, and like they just really they're really soulful because you obviously know the theme of the game, like
yes,
and there's a lot of lost. And a lot of it's applicable with like for when you lose someone, so like they're really like when you actually listen to them, they're really heavy songs and like they can give you a lot of comfort and closure.
Hell yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2 soundtrack. That's fucking sick. I was not expecting that in the slightest, but no, like legit, like John Marsden, like from the first one is like my all-time favorite video game character, but as a game as a whole, I loved the second one.
All right, I'm going to make a reference. I want to see if you get it. You eat babies!
Oh, Jesus Christ, I feel like I should know this one. Oh, no.
Have you not played Undead Nightmare?
No, I have not, actually. That's the only thing that I haven't... That's the one thing that I'm still yet to play, is I haven't done the DLC from the first one. I still want to get a copy of the remaster now that it's on PS4 and that, because that's actually on disc already, is the Undead Nightmare stuff. So I'll have to get the remaster when I've got the funds and let you know.
You have to. And like it's a side quest and it's fucking hilarious, but it's also really sad, but like it's actually I don't know the voice actor and the motion capture actor's name, but like the voice and the motions of John Marston, that's his favorite line he's ever done. So
there you go. My youngest brother, he's probably like a bigger fan than I am of the Red Dead series. He just randomly sends me TikToks with like the most obscure like one-liners and shit from the video of like from the game and shit here and there. And like every time we're hanging out, he'll randomly just like start singing the building song. And I'm just like, bro, like what? But again, I think that's the ADHD and that kicking in. Where like we'll just be like da 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 da, and he'll just be like da da da, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then I'm just like, oh my god.
Yeah, I always reference really random specific lines of dialogue with my friends with Red Dead. Like, for no reason, I'd be like, get the hell out of here and be a goddamn man.
I hate it, though, when he'll say something where, like, I'll be like, oh, fuck, what's that from? But then he'll say, like, oh, it's from such and such mission. And I'm like, oh, right, when this happens. And I'm like, fuck. Because of the ADHD, it all just kind of blends together. But I'm like, I promise, I really do love it. You've just put me on the spot. But I do the same, like, with my references. I'll say shit, and my wife's just like, the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, heck, never mind. I'll just be over here stimming.
Yeah, like legit. If I'm frustrated, like if I'm playing games with my friends and shit's not going my way, I'll just be like, I can't take much more of this, Dutch.
Honestly, though, like the twist at the end of that game, like once you get to like the last like couple of missions, you kind of like, oh fuck, I think this is like where it's going. But when it happens, you're still just like, you son of a bitch. Like
I literally like a few days ago. Yeah. A few days ago, I just had me Arfie Morgie tubercle black lung guy fucking die again, and it wasn't a good day.
And then, like, you go back and replay it, and you're just like, you motherfucker, you. Like, the whole time, you're just like, I cannot wait to shoot you in the face.
Like, I drag that game out so fucking much whenever I replay it, like, especially in that last mission. I always forget which one is, like, because, like, the last mission goes all the way into the fucking John story, and it goes for fucking ever. Like, there's a whole robbery, and, like, and then when you realize, you're like, no, fuck, can I just quickly do the side quest real quick as off? Oh, no, I'm dead. Good.
I got rid of my copy like ages ago, and I'm like, every now and then, like, I'll be sitting there like just playing Assassin's Creed or something, and like just exploring like the jungle, and I'm like, fuck, man, I'm like, why'd I get rid of Red Dead? I could be riding horseback through the jungle with Arthur instead of this random fucking assassin dude. But we'll jump into the plugs and whatnot, CJ. Obviously, as you record this, I'm aware that you're actually defending your SUPLEX Streaming Championship, which you won and then lost, and then now you've won it again. I actually had Chris Stevens on this podcast the week of your match, and he was very confident about his match against you. And then when the episode dropped the day after the show on a Sunday, you were actually already the champion by the time the episode came out. So,
good.
So do you have, just tell us a little bit about what you got coming up. Obviously, SUPLEX Season 2, Chapter 8. I don't know why the poster is alien themed. Again, I have ADHD. That's what
I was like, why the fuck? Like, that's not bad. I'm just like, what a fucking strange thing to put on the wrestling poster.
I am ADHD as fuck. I said, hey, Spade, do you have a theme? He said, no. Purple popped into my mind, and for some reason, purple led me to aliens, and here we are. But anyway, SUPLEX Season 2, Chapter 8, done by yours truly, the legally blind graphic designer. Obviously, one of the big matches is CJ Young versus Chris Stevens. So could you just tell us a little bit about, that title match, and just what else have you got coming up with Wrestle Strong on top of that?
Well, first, I'm defending my title against Chrissy Stevie.
It'll be just under 2 weeks by the time this episode drops next Sunday, or this coming Sunday, I should say.
Yeah, and like, you know what? Fuck that guy.
Fair enough.
Yeah, like, pisses off for a year, and then he gets my belt. Yeah, maybe CJ got a bit complacent. Maybe because I had a lot of successful title defenses. I beat Queensland Royalty and Renegade, who also Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Another big boy, yes.
Well, and I dwarfed the big boy, and I beat Armour in a ladder match. I beat Logan, who I called a gnome. So maybe I got a little bit too confident. Maybe CJ got confident, but and that cost me. I also, in that match, I was really put off because the people that are normally chanting 81 for CJ were chanting for C Factor, and I was like, man, you Newcastle fuckwits! Like, I travel further than anyone consistently. Like, I had never missed the SUPLEX show until that last one for years, ever since I debuted. Not a fucking exhibition, not a fucking explicit, nothing. I never missed anything. And they turned their back on me because some cunt dressed like Top Gun is fucking wearing aviators.
I mean, look, I'm not going to stop you there with the aviators, but I see your point.
And that threw me off my game a bit. And he got me. He got me. And like, I shook his hand, and I was backstage going, why did I shake his hand? This fucking overgrown Tom Cruise ass bitch, fucking Oh, and also I couldn't see his legs because he was wearing fucking camouflage. So every time I tried to kick him in the leg, I got lost on it. Hit a turnbuckle, man. It was fuck. It was a bad night for CJ. All right.
But you did regain the title. You did regain the title, and you actually made him jump through some hoops. He actually had to beat a mystery opponent of your choosing to get this shot. And on top of that, if he doesn't beat you, he won't get another shot as long as you are champion.
Well, we sure as shit won't get another shot. I'm sure of that. Yeah.
But the link obviously for that will be below. But what have you got coming up for WrestleStrong, CJ?
I'm not too sure who I'm wrestling as of yet, but I can tell you the dates. October 13th at the Gales Club in Penrith, and then October 26th, it's my hometown time, baby. I guess who wrestled over on again, and I'm so fucking excited. It was really awkward because I was putting up posters across town, and like it's really awkward to be like, "Hey, poster, I'm a local wrestler. Can I have this on your shop window?"
Oh,
and they
dude,
look at the
that's
poster
always
and
so fun. Can I put up the poster? And they look at it and they're like, eh.
And like you got all that nervous kid energy, like you're asking for, like you don't know these fucking people. It's really weird. But yeah. So now like whenever I go to a supermarket, I'm like, hey me, how you doing there, handsome? But yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. Well, actually, no. I will be starting at the as I'm beating C Factor, I am debuting Oh Yeah shirts.
Oh, excellent! That actually lent into the next lot of like plugs because I was going to say, where can we find you on socials and where can we find your merch, etc., etc. But please enlighten us about this merch.
Oh yeah. Yes, I'm going to have some cheeky Oh Yeah shirts. I've been asked for years now to get them, and since I have a pretty decent job, I can invest the money to then make more money. At the time, I couldn't. I couldn't just fucking shit out a few $100. Wrestling doesn't pay all that much, for being honest, does it? But it does pay a lot if you invest in yourself. So I've been able to do that. So starting at the SUPLEX Chapter 8, after enduring beating C Factor for the streaming title and having another damn near year-long reign, I will be selling them shirts, and I also will be hopefully restocking my DVDs.
Oh, excellent.
So yes, make the trips worth it, buy my shit.
So basically,
and like,
buy a ticket and buy TZH merch.
Yeah, and the good thing about Oh Yeah shirts is I'm going to be a bit of a salesman right here. Like they're interchangeable, in the sense that like they don't even have to be about me. It just says fucking Oh Yeah on it. It's just a nice, fun shirt.
I love that. I do.
Yeah, and they're all black, so like no one has to feel insecure or self-conscious.
I mean, who doesn't love a black T-shirt, right?
Yeah, they're the best. So yeah, and I feel like one tiny little tangent here. A lot of wrestling shirts, they're too busy, man. They have so much going on, and people don't want to wear all this colorful shit. Like a lot of wrestling fans, I don't know that we have a type. Like a lot of wrestling fans are just big boys, and that's fine. By big boys, you know what they like? Like T-shirts.
Yes. I've actually found that because like I have like a bunch of fucking different designs again, just because ADHD, where I'm like, oh, I had this idea, and then I just have to do the idea. But it's always the more simple ones that move a lot more.
Yeah, and also they're cheaper.
Yeah,
made.
This is very true. Yeah, black T-shirt, boom. Like the ones I just got printed for Cower, obviously because they're for charity. They're on a purple shirt because it's one, it was the girl's favorite color, but two, it's one of the colors of the ribbon. So it's like it's a purple shirt. It's this big fucking logo in the middle. I'm like, God damn it! Like if I had have gone black, it would have been so much cheaper. But
Well, that's very different.
Yes. So hell yeah! I'll actually, if I've got the spare cash next time I see CJ Young and he's got my size, I'll definitely get one of them because you can just, as you said, you can wear that anywhere. Like you're at a party,
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah! You're at a funeral,
Oh yeah,
oh.
Oh no,
No.
funeral maybe. The funeral, I might get some Oh No shirts made for the funeral.
No, but yeah, I definitely look forward to seeing you at some point in the near future and continue to follow your journey on social medias nonetheless, CJ. But any final words that you'd like to end this with before we stop recording?
Fuck C Factor. Top gun looking Tom Cruise ass bitch.
Tom Cruise looking ass bitch. All right.
Fucking him train ride. Fucking.
Oh Jesus, I can't wait to hear C Factor as a rebuttal to that.
Well, I can. I don't want to ever hear it. I never listen to his podcast. Never listen to his promos. He can fucking talk into the void.
Fair enough. I'm getting feeling a lot like very strong dislike here for between C Factor and CJ Young. Fair enough.
I broke my consistency just to spite the motherfucker.
Fair enough. Well, with that, CJ, I'll let you go. But I really thank you for this conversation, and I really enjoy the ranting that we've kind of gone on here. But I feel like we've covered some covered some good ground, and I'm just thinking like we could have another episode of just freaking tangents at this point. But no, I feel like we got to the bottom of who CJ Young was and where he's at now, and I perhaps maybe I know Jake Gibson is the undisputed champion currently, but perhaps undisputed championship for CJ could be in the future, or a heavyweight title at Wrestle Strong, perhaps. I mean,
that's the only thing I guess I have really left to do is to win a world title. If I don't, doesn't matter, as long as I have fun while I'm doing what I do, with whatever time I have left wrestling. I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. So, like, hopefully one day. But until then, oh yeah.
Yeah, I was actually just going to say, like, I'm just going to sit here and wait for the day that the Dean Draven, CJ Young graphic pops up on my social media feed somewhere, and I'll probably say, oh yeah, to that as well. But I'll let you end this by saying,
oh yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was CJ Young. Yes, that was my elbow that just popped because I was talking with my hands. Pretty sure the microphone popped to pick that up anyway, but I'm going to do this in one take. That was CJ Young, and that was a pop in my elbow, as I just said. And I really enjoyed that conversation. I thought it was a very fun conversation. I wasn't sure what to expect, and I was kind of worried because, you know, I was worried with just only having the core five and then those couple of little mini questions in there that I didn't know, like, you know, how many legs I was going to get out of this without having Nova Lee with me and having someone to bounce off, just because I've never really had much of a conversation with CJ, to be honest, as we touched on this thing. Like, basically, it's usually just hi, bye, and we talk about wrestling, but I really enjoyed getting to know CJ and just being like-minded and just going on tangents, and, you know, but what it is. But I really, really, really enjoyed this conversation. But as we said, he's going to have those "Oh yeah" t-shirts, so definitely buy a ticket to see him live, buy some merch, buy some DVDs when he restocks like he was talking about, and you just support your local independent professional wrestler, because we need it, yo. We need it. That hot dog and a handshake don't pay the bills. But no, I thank CJ for coming on. Really enjoyed the conversation. And I really do hope that I can watch him perform live in person sooner rather than later once again, because every match that I have seen CJ perform live, and I think every single one of those I've been on commentary for, so that's kind of cool. I've really enjoyed. I have really enjoyed seeing him perform. But if you'd like to see him perform, go see him on October 13th at the Penrith Gales, as he said here, and October 26th in Oberon, his hometown. He's back, the hometown boy, getting to do it all over again. The links will be below for those. If I can find the ticket links before this episode goes live, they will be there. But yeah, and also October 26th, obviously on my end, I have the Emma Butler Memorial Show in Cowra. So depending on where you're located, get a ticket to one of those shows, drive to one of those shows, and just enjoy yourself. Watch some professional wrestling and have a damn good time, because how freaking good is professional wrestling. It's a good time. And yeah, obviously after that, on November 23rd, Extreme Capital Wrestling, a Hard Day's Fight. The link for that will be below as well. And then November 30th, I almost said October again, November 30th, MXW All for One's Rumble featuring Bobby Fish. They just announced tonight, as I record this episode, that Richie Taylor will be in action on that show. So get your tickets to that one as well. And then December 7th, we have ICW Clash in the Capitol. Links are not on sale as of recording this episode, but again, if they go live by the time I drop this, I will put it in the description as well. And speaking of links, there's a lot of links, but they're all fun. They're all fun. If you click on my link tree, it'll take you to all of my Facebooks and the Amazon wish list if you're that inclined. The GoFundMe is still there for my eyes. We're not needing it as bad, but hey, if you're feeling generous and you want to help us buy some food while we're traveling for these eye appointments, I ain't going to say no. Help us pay the bills and, pay for the trains and yada, yada, yada. But the Pro Wrestling Tees store is there. And of course, as mentioned, at the Cowra show, I have merch. I have it. It's in a box. It's literally next to me, but it's under the table. It's behind everything. It's taped up. The shirts have been sorted and bagged by a size. I will have the Radiation Kick shirts on sale. I've only got 25 available. It only goes from medium up to 2X. Just limited sizings, unfortunately. But yeah, $30, every $10 goes to the Emma's Tongue Cancer Charity. But yeah, everything's there. My link tree, as I said, contains Amazon wishlist, Pro Wrestling Tees, yada, yada, yada. And of course, all of the podcast links. And if you follow Nova Lee, it has her socials and all of the podcast links, which has been a running gag, because I still say when she first made it that she didn't put the podcast there, but she claims it's been there the whole time. But it's there now regardless. So yeah, click the links, give us a follow, buy a t-shirt if you can. But hey, is what it is. Keep an eye out on my socials, though, because obviously this is dropping on September 1st. For the month of August, as I record this, I've done 103 kilometers when my goal was only 50 for the Fred Hollows Foundation. Obviously, with 3 days left as I record this, I'll get a few more in. But on September 10th, World Suicide Prevention Day, I will be doing a 9K in one day for the 1 in 9 Australians that die. Sorry, the 9 Australians that die every day via taking their own life, and I think it was 1 in 9 Australians had depression or something like that. But yeah, it's nine people a day lose their lives to suicide in Australia on average. So it's 9 kilometers in one day, and it's on September 10th, which is World Suicide Prevention Day. So yeah, I'll be sharing the links around for that for the next couple of weeks. Obviously, this will drop on the 1st, so I'll still have, and then the next episode, if it drops, will drop on the 8th. So if you're listening, donate to the cause and da-da-da when I share that around. And then October, I will be doing 100 kilometers for the Black Dog Institute. So I'll be sharing the links for that and, trying to raise money for those causes so they can get more resources and help people with mental health and et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, everything's there. All the links are there. Song of the week was Liar by Jelly Roll, as I said. Bit of a rock tune. I dig it. I've been playing it way too much. Probably making all of you guys sick of it with how many times I've posted it on my various social media stories on Instagram. And yeah, the match of the week was Chris Jericho versus Ricky Steamboat at Backlash 2009. As I said in the intro, very much a hidden gem. But yeah, go support CJ Young. Go support independent professional wrestling. I am the essential John L. Crossfire. You were just caught in conversation. And because Nova Lee isn't here to say it, shaka laka laka, titty sprinkles.
Oh, yeah.